Hello everyone, welcome to Facebook Live. I'm going to be sharing with you some product from the new catalogue. So just before I launch into sharing, let me just get this sorted and mute my computer just so I can see any comments. Before I launch into the card that I'm going to share with you tonight, this catalogue here is not as big as an annual catalogue, and it's a little bit bigger than one of our mini catalogues. Stampin' Up! Is now going to have 3 of these catalogues each year. So each catalogue will run for 4 months at a time. So we will just have one catalogue at a time to work from rather than having the annual and a mini catalogue. So in here, the same as all the catalogues. And unfortunately, when my phone is on the stand, I can't quite show you everything, but this is a really beautiful catalogue. It's got some amazing samples in it as always and some beautiful new products. So let me just jump through. They are trying to make the new catalogue as easy for people to manage as possible. So they've got here, start with a few crafting must-haves. So that is your adhesives, some paper, a paper trimmer. Also then you can add in stamp sets and the ephemera packs, and also then you can finish it off with some embellishments. So they are trying to make the catalogue as simple as possible and user-friendly as possible. So I'm not going to share every single page, but again, we've got some beautiful suites. I'm going to jump through a couple of these. Plus we've got some nice bundles. With the bundles, some of them are returning from the last catalogue. So such as Gears and Textures, which is one of my favourite from the last mini catalogue. So I'm really happy to see that one back. And there's a couple of others as well, along with some of the dies. Hi, Corinne. Thank you for joining me. So this is just the different bundles. Banner sayings, that will look familiar to you as well. That was in the last mini catalogue, along with, as I mentioned, some beautiful new products. Let me jump to the section that shares just the dies. Okay, and of course we do have our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but they've also given us pages of the dies. So some of these are standalone dies, such as the Party Banners Perennial Postage. We've also got Party Alphabet, and I'm highlighting these because these are carrying over from the last mini catalogue. Okay, let me see if I can see some comments. There we go. Hi, Pam. Thank you for joining me, because I've got my computer running beside me because my phone doesn't always show comments. So there are some dies here that have been around for a little while. We've also got Spotlight on Nature, Stylish Shapes, which is one of my favourite die sets, Everyday Arches, and Nested Essentials. So these 4 sets here are ones that I use regularly, so it's really lovely to see them coming back. Okay, what I'm going to share with you today is one of the new embossing folders, which is called Floral Spray 3D embossing folder, which is a nice big one that looks like this. Okay, so I'm not sure how well that is showing up being clear. Let me grab the actual picture of it. So this is just the print that comes in the packaging. So this is what I'm going to share with you, along with actually a couple of new products, along with the new ink colors and also our brand new white gel pens, because these gel pens are worth a look, because they're actually probably one of the best gel pens I've ever used. So this is a 3D embossing folder called Floral Spray. So the price for this one is $21. In the comments after, I'm going to share the code for this particular embossing folder, because it's really is a really good embossing folder to use. Okay, so I'll probably bring the catalogue back in a little bit. Before I continue, a couple of reminders to celebrate the new catalogue, which is May to August. So that's the 4 months. I'm doing a card buffet launch at the end of the month. So I've got 2 time slots. There's Friday the 29th of May at 7:30 or Saturday the 30th of May at 1:30. The cost for this event is $20, and what you get included for your $20, you get new catalogue, you get gifts, there's going to be some giveaways, and there's going to be at least 6 cards to choose from for the card buffet. Most likely there'll be 8. There could be more. And including your $20, you get to choose 2 cards. If you'd like to make more than 2, it's an additional $7 per card. Registration closed on the 25th of May. Still a little bit of time to decide whether you would like to come to one of these events. The other thing that is a little bit time sensitive as well is the June craft retreat. So this is Saturday the 20th June and Sunday the 24th of June. You can come for one day or both. So one day the cost is $85, for the 2 days $120. So what you get for your money, you get $50 worth of product. There are giveaways, gifts. There is a card making challenge that you may choose to be involved in, along with a scrapbook challenge. I'll have a card buffet. That'll be $7 per kit. And also I always do a bonus class. So I haven't quite finalized my plans for the bonus class. That class will be an additional cost to the retreat fees. The registration does close on the 30th of May. That gives me time to get all the products in and get all the other bits sorted. And also a $50 deposit is required by the 30th. Okay, just so that then I've got the money there for to purchase your products. They're the 2 main reminders I've got for now. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so this is the card I'm going to share with you, and it's made using the embossing folder and one of the new ink colors, and this one is called Barely Blush. It's a really beautiful soft pink. I'm going to hold up so you can get a little bit more of an idea of the detail there. Hi Carol, thank you for joining me. Okay, and you can see there's the highlights with the white, and to get those little highlights I've used a white ink pad and the gel pen. Okay, so I'm actually going to be doing a different color in the ink colors. So we do have, of course, 5 ink colors, and these are the new style ink pads, and holding those with one hand and my hand flat, there's magnets in those, so they actually stay together beautifully. So we have got the first one is Barely Blush. Beautiful soft pink. If you're doing baby cards, that is an absolutely perfect pink to use. We have got Crisp Cantaloupe. Crisp Cantaloupe might be familiar. It is a returning colour. I'm not sure if it's the exact same colour as we had before. I remember it being slightly darker, but it was a number of years ago. We've got Golden Glow, which does actually truly does have a really beautiful gold tone to it. There is Hydrangea Hue. That is it's not really a true purple, but it's not really a true blue. It's kind of in between. And the final colour, which is my absolute favourite, is Peaceful Pine, simply because it is a really beautiful, rich green. So, as I mentioned, I am going to be doing this card in a different colour, and I'm actually going to be doing it in the Crisp Cantaloupe. Now, to share with you these ink pads, they are magnetic. They are $25 an ink pad, so a bit more expensive than the current ones that we have, because they do have metal and they also have a magnet in them. So to open these, very simple. Okay, so they can be apart, or you can leave them clipped together, or you can have one on top of the other. But in a stack, these will all fit together and stay together nicely. So if you're perhaps a little bit more mobile when you're crafting, you can actually just have them all stacked together and they're going to stick together. The pad is slightly different to the old firm foam pads. This pad has like a linen cover on it, so it's a little bit more familiar for those who've been around for quite some time using Stampin' Up! Products. The original ink pads we had, this is a bit more like that. So it's not quite as squishy, which is quite nice too. So the stamping I'm going to be doing is the sentiment. So that's fairly faint on there, but there is that sentiment there, and I'm using a new stamp set. This does have dies to coordinate, but I actually don't have the dies. This one is called Sending Salutations. Really beautiful font. So that's what I'll be using on this card too. Okay, so let me close over the ink pad. One of the things I really love about this, if you have, perhaps you don't have a lot of strength in your hands, or perhaps you have some arthritis and you don't have that dexterity in your hands, these are so simple to open compared to our other ink pads, which when they're new are a little bit stiff and hard to open. These just open beautifully. Okay, so let's make a start with this card. So let me share with you the products I'm using. As mentioned, crisp Cantaloupe. I've got a half sheet for the base, which measures 14.9 by 21 centimetres. I have 2 pieces of white, and these measure 10 centimetres by 14.4. I have a smaller piece of crisp Cantaloupe, which measures 9.5 by 13.9. And I also have one of the rectangles that I've cut ahead of time from the Nested Essentials die set. Okay, so simple products. And the other thing I'm using as well is the crisp Cantaloupe ribbon, and this is really nice ribbon and it ties beautifully. So they're the products for this card. So my first thing I'm going to do is emboss my piece of crisp Cantaloupe. So I do have my machine sitting beside me. I'm just not going to bring it underneath my phone because it will pretty much almost touch the phone. So my piece of crisp Cantaloupe into the embossing folder, and you can position this, being a nice big folder, you can position this wherever you would like it. So I'm going to go around about there. The sandwich that I'm using is platform number 1 and plate number 4. Okay, so this is a very simple sandwich for the 3D embossing folder. And when I used my label machine earlier, I just put the 3D, so at a glance, I know what sandwich to use. Yeah, Carol, I agree. They are really quite easy to open. Yeah, yeah. And as I mentioned, not being stiff when you first get them is really good as well. So as I mentioned, I've got plate number 1, my embossing folder with my cardstock, and my grey plate, or the number 4 plate on the top. I'm just going to run this through my Stampin' Cup machine. I'm sorry, this is bumping the table a little bit. Okay, so I'll move these out the way, which gives you your nicely embossed piece there. Okay, before I use the gel pens, and let me show you these. They do come in a 2-pack. Let me just grab one out. Okay. So they look very similar to most sort of gel pens. And they work beautifully. Okay, so I'm going to show you that in just a moment. As I mentioned, it does come in a 2-pack. I can't remember the price, but I'll include, because these are a must-have if you like using gel pens. These are the best gel pens I have ever used. I'll put the code in the comments as well. So for the embossing folder and also the gel pens, I'll put that code in there for you. Okay, so my next thing I'm going to do, I've got my white ink pad, and this is a craft ink pad. So it's a pigment ink. And I have done just a little bit of re-inking. So all I'm going to do is gently swipe it over, which will just pick up some of that embossed image. So you can see there, you kind of add a few little highlights, which make this look really nice. And I have only used a really gentle hand to do this. Okay, incoming with the gel pen. So with my gel pen, let me just get the little bit of crusty off. I am just going to be adding some extra highlights. So I'm going to go into the middle of these flowers And I'm just using a dotting motion, and I'm going to hold this up in just a moment for you to see how vibrant that white is. So I'm going to be adding that little bit of extra detail, and these are amazing gel pens. And as I've shown you, I am just dotting that on. Okay, so let me go and do a few more of these. And without actually colouring anything, just using the dots in the middle of the flowers. This is, like I said, I can't honestly tell you how great these pens are compared to a lot of the other ones that I have used. And I have tried all of them. So these little crosses here that you can see, I'm going to just put a little dot of white in the middle of each of those. Again, it's just adding a little bit more detail to this card. And there's the last one there. And I'll go in and just finish off this bit. And it probably shows up a little better because this is just a slightly darker colour. Okay, and also a little bit in the middle of this flower here in the middle. So amazing, amazing gel pen. All right, let me hold that up to share with you so you can see that it's really quite vibrant. So where I've got the craft ink, it's a little more subtle, but it has just added a few highlights. And then I've gone in with that gel pen, which is really nice and stark in its white. So as I mentioned, probably the best gel pens that I have ever used, and I have bought so many different ones over the years to get this sort of look and just haven't been happy with them until this one has come along. Missed one there. So that is just using an embossing folder, a white ink pad, and the Stampin' Up! Gel pen. So you can do some really beautiful stuff with your embossing folders. It's a simple technique that looks very, very effective. Okay, let me pop those aside. Next, I'm going to give that a few moments to dry. I'm going to be stamping my sentiment. As I mentioned, stamps that I'm using is Sending Salutations. It does have a die set that goes with it. I haven't got the die set yet. This was one of the stamp sets that we received at the on-stage event back in March. Okay, so I have mounted my stamp set to the inside of the cover. And so to do that, let me just, where is the sentiment that I want? This one here. So as you can see, this is the backing sheet. Underneath the backing sheet, I have stamped the entire stamp set in one hit using black ink, and then I have stuck that sheet of acetate over the top or window sheet. This way at a glance, I can see easily if I'm missing any of my stamps. Okay, so let me just pop that there. And also then you're not going to have any issues with your stamp set falling out of the cover. Okay. I'm just going to keep checking my computer and hitting refresh as well every now and then, just to make sure that I'm not missing any of the comments, which I think I'm good. I seem to be good anyway. Okay, a block. So I'm going to, that took a bit longer than expected to actually choose a stamp. So this one says, to a marvelous person on their birthday. Let me see if I can get this on just a little bit straighter. I think that's better. And as I mentioned, my die cut, which I did ahead of time, is from the Nested Essentials. Okay, so the new ink pad. I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper just to do a test run like I normally do, because the same with our old style ink pads as well, they're kind of juicy. So you want to make sure that it's stamping. A slightly different technique. With the other ink pads, it's just tap, tap, tap. So you just got tap, 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 and then you stamp. This one's slightly different. You're going to do tap, tap, and a wiggle. And then you're going to stamp. Okay, I think that is still a little bit too wet. Plastic spoon. And you can see, I'm not sure if you can pick up, but you can see that I'm moving that ink a little bit. So it is a really juiced up ink pad. Then you just give your spoon a bit of a wipe later. Okay, I think that's better. So I'm just going to do a wiggle, tap, tap. I think that's better. Wiggle, tap, tap. Let's see how it goes. I always find that slightly dry ink pads do work a little better, and there you have your stamped sentiment. So yeah, as with any ink pad, they are kind of juiced up to begin with. So yeah, so just keep that in mind when you are stamping. Okay, so close that over, and we are ready to put this card together. I'm going to move this out of the way because I'm going to end up with extra ink on me. So it's always good to have your Stampin' Chamois on hand just to get rid of excess ink. And of course, give your stamp a quick clean as well. So this is a fairly new chamois. I haven't been able to find my old ones, which are really stained and not in fabulous shape. Give them a rinse out every now and then, and they're perfectly good to keep using. They will get stained just simply because we use them. All right, so let's put the card together. So, as always, you just need to fold your card in half. Okay, and I always use a bone folder. And I'm going to finish off the inside straight away because all I need to do is stick my piece of white in. Okay. Oops. Stampin' Seal is what I normally use. When you're using Stampin' Seal, just remember a light hand and that little tick just to break the stream of the adhesive. So this is going straight into the inside. So this piece of white measures 10 centimeters by 14.4, and I do have the same size piece for the outside, so I'm going to put that on straight away too. Now, if you're not a fan of Stampin' Seal, use double-sided tape, use your Tombow, whatever adhesive you like to use is going to work perfectly. Now, I have got a little bit of a furry edge there, so I'm going to quickly clean that up just with a sanding block. Okay, there we go. Before I stick this on, I do need to add some ribbon. As I mentioned, this is crisp Cantaloupe. Normally by now I've mastered the names of the new ink colours. I haven't so far. I think that's simply because I haven't used them all that much yet. So I'm slowly getting back into crafting after having some time away. So my first piece, I'm going to have about 2 centimeters each side of this. Just, you can measure it if you like. I'm just going to mark that with my finger. Cut the first piece, and I'm going to use just some sticky tape to secure this in place. So around about there. So I'm, as I mentioned, really loving this embossing folder and the gel pens. Okay, and I want to make sure that is kind of sort of straight. Okay, my next piece. my sentiment, I'm actually going to be sticking this almost in dimensionals before I do my bow. Let me see, what have I got here? Okay, I have got some mini dimensionals, which are probably the size that I go to more now than what I used to. I'm not going to be putting any dimensionals in the middle because I want it to sit nice and flat over the ribbon. So I've just got the 3 pieces each side, and of course using the take your pick tool, just stab into those, and then you collect the ends of the dimensional at the end there. Okay. So this is going to be going on to my card front, just over the ribbon. And I'm going to now measure using just the ruler across the bottom of my or across the bottom of my glass mat. I'm going to measure and cut at about 25 centimetres. You could do a little more, a little less. I find the 25 centimetres with ribbon and twines a good amount to be able to tie a bow with. Hi Shirley, thank you for joining me. It's a beautiful colour. It's not too orange because some of the colours can be a little bit too orange, but this is just almost a lighter coral sort of colour. So it's a really lovely one to have. So I've just threaded my second piece of ribbon under the first, and I'm going to be tying a bow with this. And this is just a simple shoelace tie. And it helps cinch that ribbon in a little bit too. Let's see how I go, see if my fingers will tie a nice bow tonight. Because sometimes I just struggle with that. So I'm going to carefully just do some adjustments with my bow. So I do apologise, you're probably only going to really see hands for a little bit. Let me see how that goes. I think that's okay. Okay, so I've tied my bow, and you can manipulate your bow a little bit to get it to how you want it to sit and look, which is one of the nice things about this ribbon. It does hold really nicely. Okay, so I'm going to trim up my ribbons just a little bit. There we go. And there you have a nice little bow tied. Okay, to finish off, this is going to go onto the card front. And again, I'm going to use some dimensionals. So I've got my minis out. And of course, if you don't have minis, just use your standard size dimensionals. Okay, and one more. Okay, so the actual mini dimensionals I've finished. I will then, when I need to cut all the outside up, as you can see, I've started to do that already, but don't waste that bit of product that you've got there. Okay, so getting the backing papers off. There we go. Off the dimensionals. Couple more to do. Yeah, Karen, I agree. It's a really beautiful colour, and the embossing folder is something else. Hi, Debbie. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so let's finish this card off. Now, at this point, if you wanted to, you could add some rhinestones or something like that, but I honestly think it doesn't need anything more. It's a beautiful colour, an amazing embossing folder, and adding that little bit of white detail with the white pigment ink or craft ink, which is a little bit sticky, takes a little bit of time to dry, and of course the white gel pen, which, as I mentioned, one of the best gel pens I have ever used, if not the best. Okay, so that is the same card in 2 different colours. Okay, so I will be giving away this card next week. So all you need to do, of course, to be in the running for this particular card is to leave me a comment. So a couple of weeks ago, I shared 2 cards in a class, which are these 2 here. I'm going to leave this open for another week, and I will share in the comments the link to this video for these 2 cards. Leave me a comment and you'll be in the running to win one of these cards, or I've also got some sampler packs of designer series paper to give away. So there'll probably be 3 or 4 winners chosen next week. Again, all you need to do is leave me a comment on that video, and you're in the running to win one of maybe 3 or 4 prizes. So I will leave the comment. I'll leave the link for this particular Facebook Live in the comments. Okay, so there'll be a few things in the comments, which will be the embossing folder, the gel pens, the codes for those, plus the link to watch the video from a couple of weeks ago, so you're in the running to win something. And again, for next week, I'll also announce the winner of this card here that I have just made. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Gay. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you weren't on earlier, I do have copies of the catalogue available. Let me just pop those aside. So the new catalogue copies are available. If you're planning to call by my place, please let me know when and I'll pop a catalogue out the front. And the events that are really important that are coming up, the May to August catalogue launch. And I actually think this card is going to be one of the projects because it's too good not to do. So they're on the 29th and the 30th of May, and the June craft retreat, which is the 20th and the 21st of June. Registration closes on the 30th of May. So if you're interested in any of those events, I do have all the details under the events tab on my Facebook page too. So you can register through there if you like. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to be back next week, and I think I'm going to be back on Wednesday again. I've got a new class that I'm hoping to start, so I need to sit down and figure out when I'm going to fit everything in. But at this stage next week, Facebook Live on Wednesday. So until then, everyone, take care, and thank you so much for joining me tonight. Bye, everyone.